I know that you've been here before. You've waited the whole week to go out to a new restaurant and the weekend finally arrives. You get together with friends or your partner or somebody else that you want to spend time with and you go out to that restaurant. You arrive, you look down, you take a look at the menu and your stomach sinks. You start looking at all the different foods thinking, what can I eat? What can I eat? What should I be eating? What shouldn't I be eating? You start picking out foods that feel okay and safe and foods that are an absolute no. And you get so caught up in what's in the menu that you don't even know what you want. And then what do? You turn to the person that you're with and ask them, what are you having? Because you have no idea at this point what you feel comfortable ordering, what you don't feel comfortable ordering, and you feel completely disconnected from your own experience because there's so many rules and ideas and thoughts swirling through your mind that it feels virtually impossible to make a decision when you go out to eat. If this is something that you can relate to, you're going to want to watch this video because we're going to talk about why this is happening for you, the things that impact, why it's so uncomfortable to order the things that you actually want to order when you go out to a restaurant, and some specific steps that you can take in order to make the eating experience easier and for you to order more freely from the menu when you go out to restaurants. You definitely want to take a listen to this. But before we dive into that, my name is Catherine Metzelaar. I'm a registered dietitian, certified intuitive eating counselor, here to help you create peace with food and your body so that it takes up less headspace and you can live a more abundant life. Be sure to click like below if you like this video, subscribe to my channel to get weekly videos, and let's dive into things. I know that you've been here before. You go to a restaurant and you're paralyzed at the dinner table. You're looking at the menu, you don't know what you're supposed to order. You don't know if you're allowed to order the pasta. Should you order the fried food? Can you order more than one dish? What are the people that you're with going to think about you? What's the server going to think of you? Is it okay that you give yourself permission to eat foods? And so many other things. I know that you can relate to this chaos that we often experience when we go out to eat, when we are carrying around a ton of diet rules. And you may not be dieting in this moment, but likely if you have experienced a lifetime or some significant amount of time in this culture, you are carrying around a lot of diet rules inside. Whether or not you still follow them is neither here nor there. They often show up at the dinner table. And especially when we go out to restaurants, because there's so many choices and often there's a lot of choices of food that you might not be giving yourself permission to have at home. So let's talk about a common scenario. You are going through that process of feeling confused about what to order from the menu. You're noticing wanting things, you're not sure if you can actually get them. You've got these voices showing up saying that you shouldn't be ordering them. Then you ask a person at the table, what are you having? Then what you do is you base what you order around what they're ordering. If they got the salad, you're gonna have the salad. If they got the pasta, maybe you'll consider the pasta. If they get the dessert, okay, then you'll get the dessert. But nonetheless, say you decide to get the salad because they got the salad, and then your dish arrives, and then you're a little dissatisfied. That's not what you actually wanted, and you leave feeling bummed. What a bummer that I didn't actually get what I wanted when I've been looking forward to going out to eat. And now I go home and I'm still feeling dissatisfied. So I look in my fridge and I search for foods. Maybe I end up eating foods that I don't actually want because I'm searching for something that I didn't actually get when I was out. And sometimes this can even lead to a binge eating experience, which is super common for a lot of people. Being unsure about what you should order when you go out to eat is not your fault. We are surrounded by messages from diet culture specifically about eating out, things to avoid, things you should and shouldn't have, ways to control portions. There is tons of unhelpful advice out there that doesn't allow you to actually connect to what you want in a restaurant. And there are really valid reasons why ordering out is difficult, and here are some of those reasons. The first one is fear of judgment of the people around you. What are they gonna think? How are they gonna judge your body? What assumptions are they going to make about you based on the foods that you choose to eat? Another reason is that you feel fearful of the foods that are on the menu. You worry that if you actually order what you want, you will gain weight, your body shape and size will change, you'll feel out of control around the food, or the food has too much fat, or there's something inside the food that you feel afraid of. Another reason is that you are actually with judgmental people. It's not uncommon that we have people in our families, sometimes partners, that you know will make comments about your food and you'd rather avoid that, and so you don't end up ordering what you actually want. You want to be seen by people that matter to you in your life as healthy. It's something that maybe you take pride pride in, it's part of your own identity, and you worry that if people don't see you eating healthfully in the way that you normally do, then they might judge you or think of you differently. And lastly, another common reason why we don't actually order what we want when we go out to restaurants is because we're afraid of getting kicked out of the group. And I know that probably sounds extreme, but we as humans are social creatures. We are constantly striving to fit in with a group. And so if we're with a group and we're with other people that are ordering differently than we are, that kicks up our fight or flight, that puts us into stress mode, and we will do what we need to do in order to make sure that we fit in with that group so we don't get kicked out. It's not conscious, it's not something that you're doing intentionally, it's very much a survival instinct that we have, and yet it will impact your ability to be able to order food that you actually want in the moment. So now that you know some of the very common reasons why people don't order what they actually want in restaurants, what do you do with that information? How do you actually order what you want if that's something that you're wanting? If you're watching this, you likely want to create peace with food, you want to feel more freedom around food, but how do we get there when we're eating out at restaurants? There are 3 things that I want to offer you to try the next time you go out to a restaurant in order to help you order the things off the menu that you want. The first thing is, when you get the menu, don't spend too much time with it. And I mean this. 1 or 2 looks through the menu and notice where your eye goes. Notice what sounds appealing and interesting and stay with that. Trust that your instinct is telling you what you want and take a step in that direction. Try ordering the thing that you picked at first go or second go. Don't look at the menu many times. Don't try to calculate and switch things around and make sure that it is just the right food. Notice where your eye goes when you look at the menu 1 or 2 times, and try practicing ordering where your eye goes first, because that is likely what you actually want. And speaking of ordering what you actually want, the second thing is that you need to practice this, and you don't have to practice it all at once. It doesn't mean you need to go out to a restaurant tomorrow and order everything that you want. That's often too much and way too overwhelming. So pick one thing when you go out to a restaurant that you'd like to practice with. Maybe the first time you go, you're picking the entree that you really want, or you're choosing an appetizer that you really want as a smaller starting point, or you choose a dessert at the end of the meal. Pick one thing that you'd like to practice and see what you notice in doing that. See what you notice in choosing something that you actually enjoy, that you want, that your eye is drawn to, and allow yourself to be with the fear that comes up. Expect that you're going to feel fear when you go out, when you order foods that you want. This is part of the process, but as you continue to practice it, it will get better and easier. The third thing that you can do to practice this is to recruit a buddy. You know that I'm a huge fan of community and getting support where we can. This can be from a friend, from a partner, from a colleague, and you can let them know, hey, I'm doing this thing where I'm really trying to order what I want when I go out to restaurants. You can tell them as much or a little as you'd like. Maybe they even know some of your history, and ask them to participate with you. You can ask them to participate with you by saying, hey, could you also order some fun foods with me and be encouraging and talk about how amazing the food is? Or you can just say, hey, I'm doing this thing that I'm working on that I really want to try to order foods that I want at restaurants, and I don't want to talk about the food at all. I just want your company because you're so supportive and wonderful, and it would feel really good to have you there. Oftentimes having a supportive buddy when we're doing things that we feel anxious about or afraid about, in this case, as it relates to food, it can feel so helpful because they're there to absorb some of that anxiousness. They're there to distract you. They're there to say you're doing an amazing job. They're there to normalize the experience of ordering foods that you like, that you get pleasure from, and then you can talk about it with them or not. Remember that healing your relationship with food is about progress and not perfection. Please go into this with realistic expectations, knowing that you are not going to not feel anxious at all or not be afraid that you are going to gain weight as a result. The idea is that you keep practicing and keep moving towards allowing yourself to have the foods that you want at the restaurant meal and not compensate afterwards. Don't go exercise, don't start planning your next diet. Really try to allow yourself to have something, and remember, you can start small and practice that over and over and over again to build up your distress tolerance, which is your ability to be able to increase your capacity to be with any distress that comes up, in this case at mealtime. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know below, have you ever struggled when going out to a restaurant? Can you relate to any of this? And if you try any of the things that I suggested, also let me know below. Click like to this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you want more, check out the free guide below on how to create peace with food when you're afraid of gaining weight. And I will see you back here next week.